What's up everyone, Sergeant Argo right here, and today we're going to be reacting to a video that was requested to me by, I forgot who requested it, but yeah, it was in one of my recent videos, Time Charter World History. So, this is inside the tanks, the T-54 and the T-55. Of course my cat wants to go inside right when I record. But anyways, yeah, there's the Russian tanks. What are you doing? Oh gosh, that cat. Made 5 years ago, wow. Anyways. What are you doing? Anyways, let's get started. How come he only wants to come whenever I'm recording a video? Kind of irritating. Excuse me, I can't really see. What the heck? Ah! Oh my god, that was what? Okay. Hilarious. Very nice intro. I'm assuming this is the tank that's going to be talked about. Or not, they have like a bunch of different tanks. Oh. Look at that, they have that little red star on it.
In military hardware, there are some objects that become icons. They achieve fame and recognition for their impact on the battlefield and the sheer length of their operational service. This is one of them. The AK-47 designed...
The AK-47? I thought he was talking about the T-54s. Anyways.
...by Mikhail Kalashnikov. 60 years after its creation, it is still in use by regular and irregular forces across the globe.
Really? Hey, when did it come out though? Did it already say when it came out?
For its creation, it is still in use by regular and irregular forces across the globe. And if you had to name one tank worthy of the title Kalashnikov on tracks, it would surely be this, the T-54-55 series. With its origins in World War II and from the same design team as the legendary T-34, the T-54-55 still soldiers on today around the Third World.
Really?
Just about every aspect has been modified or upgraded. And while it couldn't hope to hold its own against a modern main battle tank, it's still a real threat in many of today's lower level conflicts. So we're here at the Mucklebrook Collection to take a closer look at this very significant machine and to understand just what made it into the most produced and one of the most longest serving tanks ever.
Jeez, that's scared me.
The T-54 story starts with its designer, Alexander Morozov. He was part of the T-34 design team headed by Mikhail Koshkin.
Look how big that barrel is. Jeez.
Working on the transmission. But when Koshkin died suddenly in September 1940, Morozov took over. All efforts at the time were concentrating on getting the T-34 into service, and over time upgrading it. But Germany's Panther had come at a nasty shock at the Battle of Kursk, leading to the upgunning of the T-34 to 85mm, and a natural question, what next?
T-44 to T-54.
Morozov and his team faced a constant problem of tank design, the trade-offs between armour, mobility and firepower. How to make a more effective medium tank than the T-34 without increasing the size and in turn, of course, the weight. Morozov solved this in a very ingenious and effective way by totally reorganising the interior layout.
Jeez.
He got rid of the whole machine gunner, creating more storage for the larger ammunition.
Oh, wow.
He turned the engine crosswise and placed the transmission behind it at the rear of the hull, driving the rear sprockets. This freed up more space for the fighting compartment and storage. On top of this, he used torsion bar suspension, which took up a lot less internal space than the old Christie suspension of the T-34. The first result of this thinking was the T-43 and then the T-44. The T-44 has significantly thicker armour than the T-34, but with a better ride and better cross-country performance. but it still needed more than the 85mm.
So it's like it's literally almost better in almost every single way.
Gun, which, of course, the T-54 already had. So development focused on increasing the size of the gun, and of course, designing a turret ring enough to take them. A 100mm gun was trialled, and even 120.
Wait, what? Is that supposed to be what they shoot? That's huge. Wow.
2mm. The decision was finally taken to go ahead with the 100mm caliber, and 2 prototypes with the designation T-54-100 were built.
What?
One with the 100mm D10 gun,
what?
The other with the LB1 gun.
Oh.
The D10 had already proved itself in the Su-100 tank destroyer. So with a redesigned turret, a new V-54 engine and new steering, the tank went into production in 1945 as the T-54.
Wow. So it went into production in 1954. I mean 1945. Does that mean that they actually used it during World War II? Probably not. But it would have been cool.
But even redesigned, the turret was still a problem, with poor ammunition storage and dangerous shot traps. So it's changed yet again, this time to a turret similar to that of the IS-3 heavy tank, with a hemispherical shape and no awkward shot traps at the sides.
What? Why are you attacking me? I'm just killing you. T-54, T-55.
Throughout the late 1940s and 1950s, the T-54 was progressively upgraded.
I'm very confused, though, because... So they went from T-34 to T-44, as I understand it? Like, why did they have to skip 10 numbers? But then with T-54, they only skipped one number with T-55.
Upgraded in just about all areas. But by the mid-1950s, it was clear that more had to be done to protect the tank from nuclear and biological attack.
Nuclear what?
So to achieve this, a major upgrade entered production in 1958, called the T-55.
Ah, what the heck? He, like, jumped very high. I don't really get it. He never fails to interrupt my videos.
In 1958, called the T-55.
Wow. Look at him. You can always see his head. That looks pretty cool.
It incorporated all the detailed improvements made today, and also had a more powerful V-55 engine, and, over time for later variants, yet more improvements. Stabilizers for the gun, better ammunition, improved fire control and sighting, and, later on, extra protection in the form of reactive armor.
Oh, nice.
So let's take a closer look at this example.
Wait, what's reactive armor?
Check build T-55. Looking at this next to a T-54 shows just how clever Morozov was. The hull is just a little wider than the T-34-85, but about the same length. More importantly, the overall height is a lot less, presenting a lower profile to enemy fire. But despite this, it has thicker armour and mounts a bigger gun.
I wonder if, wait, does he, like, own these tanks or something? Like, how is he able to get these? Like, and drive them around? That's cool.
Its armour is pretty good. With 200mm on the turret front, 125mm to 150mm on the turret sides, and 120mm on the hull front, and also 80mm on the hull sides. But just as important, the shallow slope of the front glacis and the smooth, rounded turret not only give the tank a very low silhouette, but increase the effective thickness of the armour and help to deflect incoming shells. The gun is a 100mm D10T with a rifle barrel. Note the fume extractor near the muzzle. This had a rate of fire between 4 and 7 rounds per minute, with a maximum effective range of 2,500 meters.
Oh, wow.
Looking at it from the sides, the first thing to spot is the uneven spacing of the road wheels, with a large gap between the first and second wheels. This is unique to the T-54-55. Suspension, as mentioned earlier, is torsion bar, with a separate torsion bar for each wheel running across the tank. The tracks are wider than those of the T-34-85, 580mm instead of 500mm, which means that the ground pressure is actually slightly less than its predecessors, even though the tank's weight is about 4 tons more. As I said before, the dry sprockets are now at the rear. Under here is the really clever bit. The engine is mounted crosswise. Now, of course, we're so used to this nowadays in cars that it may seem a bit ordinary, but at the time it represented a real innovation. This is the V55 580 horsepower diesel engine, which was capable of pushing the T-55 along at 50 kilometers per hour on the road and 30 kilometers per hour cross country. Add to this the mounting of the transmission behind the engine, and everything from the engine forward is free space.
Inside.
Inside the turret, the low profile and steeply sloped sides do allow the crew some space, but the headroom is very tight. This, of course, was accepted by the Soviet Army, who had a height limit on tank crewmen.
Wow, there's so much stuff. And, wow.
The commander sat here, roughly where I am at the moment, at the rear of the turret to the left. He had his own sight.
It looks pretty roomy, to be honest. Look at that.
And just behind me, you can see the radio controls. In front of him was the gunner. He had a hand control for traverse and elevation, with a firing button on top. You can also see that he had two
what language is that?
gun sights, one optical and the other infrared. The loader to the right of the gun may look like he had a lot of room, but remember that there were 100mm shells stored here, each round a metre long.
Oh, wow. Jeez. Can't believe that.
Up front, the driver had conventional controls. 2 steering levers, tillers, as we tankies call them, with the gear change on his right.
In service.
The first combat outing for the T-54 was in 1956, during the Hungarian uprising.
Really? Jeez, that must be horrifying. What are those people doing? They're just like looking at it like it's no big deal. Like, yeah, no big deal. There's just, some tanks. Maybe it's like a parade, actually. Yeah, maybe it's a parade. I don't know. It's weird.
After that, it was deployed throughout the Warsaw Pact nations and was produced under license in various countries. In the final count, something over 100,000 of all types and derivatives were built, making it the most produced tank ever.
Yeah, that's
such was the
most produced ever. Dang.
Quality of its design and the reliability of its performance that it still crops up to this day, nearly 70 years later, in low-intensity conflicts throughout the Third World.
That's really fascinating. Oh, it's really fascinating. Well, there we go. Wargaming. Is that like some kind of game website? Anyways, thank you all for watching, everyone. That was a very interesting video. I haven't reacted to them before, but they seem interesting. Anyways, goodbye. Hello, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe to my channel. And, turn on the notification bell thingy. And if you didn't, then make sure to leave a thumbs down. But yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. And while you're at it, go ahead and watch my other videos. They're probably just as good, then if not better than this one right now. Except for my oldest videos, don't watch those. And, subscribe to these people down here, my fellow sergeants. They're other YouTubers that I either know or I have in high regards. Yeah, even my cat agrees. So, thank you for watching, and have a great day.